Am I the a-hole for refusing to let my sister's boyfriend attend Christmas dinner after what he said to my husband? My sister's been dating this guy, Jack, for about 6 months. She's head over heels for him, but my husband and I aren't his biggest fans. He's been offhandedly rude a few times, but nothing major until recently. Last weekend, we hosted a small family dinner. Jack was invited and things were going fine, until Jack made a comment about my husband's work. My husband is an elementary school teacher, and Jack apparently thought it was funny to call him a babysitter who actually gets paid for it. My husband tried to laugh it off, but I could see he was hurt. My husband works so hard and genuinely loves what he does. So I snapped back and told Jack that at least my husband contributes something meaningful to the world, unlike people who just mooch off their girlfriends. Jack is unemployed and lives with my sister rent-free. Things got tense, and Jack stormed out. My sister later said I embarrassed him and that I should apologize. Now Christmas is coming up and my sister asked if Jack could come to our family dinner. I said no. I told her he wasn't welcome in my house until he apologized to my husband. She called me a hypocrite for demanding an apology after what I said about him. Our parents are staying neutral, but my mom did say it might be better to just let it go for the holidays. So, am I the a-hole? Edit. Just to clarify, my husband didn't say anything to provoke Jack, and this wasn't a one-off thing. Jack has made snide comments about other people in the family before, like joking about my dad being too old-fashioned for using cash instead of digital payments. It's not just us. Also, I'd be open to having a civil conversation with Jack, but he hasn't reached out at all since that night. My sister keeps doubling down that I'm the one who should apologize, which feels unfair considering he started it. Now for the top comments. LMAO, he's insulting your husband for being a teacher when the guy is unemployed and leeching off your sister. The audacity of this clown. Not the a-hole. Plus, it ain't hypocritical to expect an apology after the disrespect, especially when you responded to his initial insult. Because the fact that Jack makes these comments without provocation shows he's intentionally trying to be hurtful, not just engaging in playful banter. Yikes. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. If you would have said it unprovoked, you might have been a bit of an a-hole. But no, he was making fun of a person with one of the most important jobs in the world, and he does that as an employed person who lives as a parasite to your sister. So he deserved to hear it. And I hope your sister soon throws away her rose-tinted glasses and sees him for the person he is. And by that, I don't mean that he is unemployed. That can happen to anyone. But he is making fun of people for no good reason and isn't ready to handle something being thrown back at him. I'm seeing this as a red flag for him trying to isolate the sister from her family. The relationship is moving way too fast, and with how besotted his sister is, I bet it started with some serious love bombing. This dude is very serious trouble. Not the a-hole. Jack is likely lashing out because he feels inadequate due to being unemployed. He doesn't get to come to your house and put you down. He can spend Christmas looking for a job and thinking about his life choices. Bravo, OP. Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to share my daughter's 27 Christmas gifts with her half-brother who got one? I share custody of my 7-year-old daughter Zara with my ex. While we were still dating, my ex cheated on me and had a son who is now 5. She has full custody of her son since the dad is a deadbeat who only sees his child every few months. On the other hand, I have majority custody of our daughter and have her 3 weeks out of every 4. Besides attempting to co-parent the best we can, our relationship is non-existent. This is mostly because my ex is narcissistic. She expected me to pay child maintenance because I kicked her out, and now she lives in a 2-bedroom apartment in a crappy area. She also told her son I was his dad for whatever reason. Because of this, we only physically interact whenever I pick up or drop off Zara. Anyway, Zara was born on Christmas Eve, which means I buy her a lot of presents. This year, I bought 20, plus 5 from my brother and 2 from her mother. My ex didn't get the bonus she had hoped for from work, which she was relying on for Christmas dinner. When picking up my daughter, she told me her mom had asked her to ask me, "Can we spend Christmas as one family this year?" aka my ex wanted it to seem like our daughter wanted to spend Christmas as one family and not her. I have a closer bond with my daughter than my ex does, so she was honest with me about the situation. I asked her if she was okay with the idea, and she told me she didn't mind as long as her half-brother didn't mess with her things. I agreed to respect her boundaries. From what she's shared, her half-brother is the typical annoying younger sibling and they don't have a close relationship. Considering they only see each other once every 3 weeks, it's not surprising that they're not particularly close. Not that I care anyway. When Christmas morning came and my ex and her son arrived, my daughter was screaming for us to begin opening presents. We all went into the living room and my ex was shocked to see the number of presents under the tree. She looked at me weirdly and asked which ones were for her son, and I told her none. I guess due to the sheer number of presents, she thought I had bought a gift for her son. I told her no, and that these were all for Zara since it was also her birthday. She got angry quickly and pulled me into the kitchen where she quietly screamed at me. She called me selfish and greedy, not just for buying Zara too many presents, but also for the price of them. Zara had already opened a new bike, a Kindle, and a chemistry kit. She complained that her son now had to watch his sister open presents, while he was only holding a children's book, which is all she could afford. She then told me Zara needed to share her gifts and let her brother open the rest. I told her that was a no, and I was not going to force Zara to share the gifts she earned for being a good girl this year. This time, she didn't bother lowering her voice and full-on raged at me, saying I do this on purpose to get back at her for cheating and that I love being cruel, before calling me a sociopath. My brother came in, hearing the fight, and pulled some money out to give to the boy, but I told him to put it away and told her to get the F out of my house. She texted me the next day about how I ruined her son's Christmas because I refused to share a couple of toys that he cried all day. Do I feel bad? Sort of. But I don't think I am the a-hole since I did promise my daughter her brother would not touch her things. Christmas Eve and Christmas Day are considered one day for us because Zara was born on Christmas Eve, and it's weird to open birthday presents one day and Christmas presents another day. I 100% believe you're under no obligation to purchase gifts for her son, and your daughter should not have to share. That being said, knowing her financial situation and the fact that she has 2 children to buy for as opposed to 1, you had to have known her son wasn't going to have the same number of gifts to open. You could have explained to your daughter that you were going to do the majority of her gifts with just the 2 of you because you didn't want to make her brother feel bad. In doing this, not only do you prevent the boy from sitting there and experiencing a sad situation, but you also teach your daughter compassion. After all, it's not the boy's fault your ex cheated on you. He's innocent in all of this. Exactly. At the end of the day, the little boy is completely innocent, and thinking about other people's feelings is a really good lesson to teach his daughter too. That's if he knows it to teach it. Not the a-hole. Not your kid, not your responsibility to buy him presents. Tell the ex if she's so concerned, she can go buy him more presents. I think it's absolutely sick and disgusting that so many people think this way in the comments. I'm not advocating that the dad was obligated to get gifts or share gifts that belong to the daughter, but this should have been way better planned. He allowed a 5-year-old to sit on Christmas morning, watching his sister open nearly 30 gifts while he got a book. I will die on this hill, but nobody with a kind human heart would do that. It's that plain and simple. That was so cruel, and could have avoided by having the daughter open most of the gifts before they arrived. Also, as a parent, he should be teaching his daughter to be a kind and caring person. He isn't. He didn't even teach her to buy her sibling a gift. That is horrendous. The daughter isn't even taught kindness. I think both parents failed this one massively. He could have had his daughter get her brother a Christmas gift and teach her compassion. Instead, he is teaching her that she doesn't have to give a crap about others, and not showing her what basic empathy looks like. She will grow up to be a bad person, just like both her a-hole parents. The world sucks. Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to let my brother-in-law move into our guest house after he screwed us over financially? My husband and I have a small guest house on our property that we rent out for extra income. A couple of years ago, my brother-in-law, his brother, approached us asking to borrow $10,000 to cover some debts. He was desperate, and we wanted to help, so we lent him the money with the agreement that he'd pay us back within a year. Fast forward 2 years, and he hasn't paid us a cent. He avoids the topic every time it's brought up, and even had the audacity to take a trip to Cancun recently. My husband and I had an argument about this because I'm angry he's not holding his brother accountable. Now, the tenant in the guest house recently moved out, and my brother-in-law suddenly wants to move in. He claims he's struggling financially and needs a place to stay for a few months. I flat out refused. I don't trust him to pay rent, and honestly, I'm still furious about the $10,000 he hasn't repaid. My husband thinks I'm being too harsh, saying it's family and we should help him out. But I feel like he's taken advantage of us enough already. I told my husband that if he wants his brother to move in, he can either pay us back the $10,000 first or sign an agreement with consequences for not paying rent. My husband says I'm being unreasonable and cold-hearted. Am I the a-hole for refusing to let him move in without clear terms? Edit. For context, the $10,000 wasn't something we had lying around. It came from our savings for a new car and home improvements. We didn't have kids at a time, but now we do, and finances are tighter. My husband keeps brushing it off, saying his brother will figure it out eventually, but I feel like we're just enabling him to keep taking advantage of us. I'm standing my ground, but now I'm wondering if I'm being too rigid about this. Kiss those $10K goodbye, and if you let that mooch move in, it won't be for a few months. You will have a lifelong non-paying tenant, not the a-hole. Exactly. If he hasn't paid back the $10,000, there's no chance he'll stick to any agreement about rent. Letting him move in would just be asking for some stress and financial losses. Better to cut the losses now. If he couldn't repay $10,000, moving in will just prolong the issue. Telling him no now protects you both financially and emotionally. They say, burn me once, shame on you. Burn me twice, shame on me. I don't know why your husband doesn't take this seriously. $10,000 is nothing to sneeze at. Reading between the lines, your in-laws may have enabled a certain lack of accountability and continue to do so. There are a million stories on here about family members who are taken advantage of, and the rest of the family is like, oh, just let it go to keep the peace. I wouldn't let it go. I'd refuse to see or speak to the dirtbag brother-in-law ever again until the $10,000 was returned, and I certainly would not agree to be put into a position to be burned again. Exactly this, not the a-hole. $10,000 is a significant amount of money, and brushing it off for the sake of keeping the peace only enables bad behavior. It's not just about the money, it's about respect, boundaries, and accountability. If the brother-in-law gets away with this now, what's stopping him from doing it again? OP has every right to protect themselves from being taken advantage of further, especially if their husband isn't stepping up to address the situation. Boundaries are essential here, and standing firm is the only way to avoid being burned a second time. My wife, God bless her, only allowed me to make a similar type of mistake once. My brother needed help, and I loaned him $600. Not a lot, but at the time it was 1/3 of my entire savings. Well, he forgot about it. I kind of forgot about it, but my wife didn't. The next time he came by, it was a flat-out nope. Not the a-hole. Tell your husband that before he thinks about helping his brother needs to do the right thing and pay back the $10,000 plus interest. Last story. Am I the a-hole for telling my wife I don't want to spend Christmas with her family every year? My 30 male wife, 28 female, comes from a very close-knit family. Every single Christmas, we spend the holidays with her parents, sister, and her sister's family. It's always the same. Wake up at their house, open presents, have a big lunch, and spend the evening playing board games. Don't get me wrong, I love her family, and the tradition is nice. But here's the issue. It is 6 years we've been married. We've never had a Christmas that's just us, or even one with my side of the family. My parents live across the country, and traveling to see them during the holidays is expensive, so we usually end up visiting them another time of year. This year, I suggested we do something different. I wanted to spend Christmas with just the two of us and our daughter 5 female at home, or even go to my parents for once. My wife immediately shut it down, saying Christmas is meant to be with her family and it would break their hearts if we didn't come. When I pressed the issue, she said I was being selfish for not valuing the traditions that are important to her. I told her it feels like her family's feelings always come first, and that I want to start our own traditions, even if it's just every other year. Now, she's upset and told me I've ruined the holiday spirit. Her parents even got wind of the conversation, not sure how, and are now saying they don't know what they did to make me feel unwelcome. Am I the jerk for wanting to switch things up for Christmas? Or should I just accept that our family's traditions are the default? Spending 6 times with her family and not once with yours? I would never accept that. Exactly, 100%. A major part of this problem is that OP has let this happen for 6 years. What discussions happened while dating, engaged, and as newlyweds? Her whole family is out of line to expect one side to be more important. I'm so thankful that my own mother and mother-in-law were both of the mindset to assume we would alternate holidays. Both would ask way in advance what hubby and I wanted to do for every holiday. And my hubby is an only child with a small family. Without us, his parents were basically alone. In 20 plus years, we've never disagreed on holidays. Sometimes his parents, sometimes mine, sometimes we split to each go to our own. It's so sad OP is in this place, but he also contributed to the problem by not handling it sooner. Not the a-hole. There is always give and take with these things. Honestly, having a huge family Christmas every year sounds exhausting. Especially with a kid at this age, it's so much more meaningful to have it just be your family, not the extended family. When you use the word family, who does she think of? I'd ask her. Because at this age, it should be her partner and child. That's her immediate family. It sounds like she sees you as an addition to her family, not that the two of you form a family unit. That's not a healthy outlook long term, because all solutions to this problem come from that foundation. Whatever negotiations you make start there. It really sounds like it's time to forge your own traditions as adults, whatever shape that takes. Her parents aren't helping by acting hurt. The first thing you have to learn as your kids grow up is that they have their own lives and commitments. I'd want my daughter to love someone enough that she wants to create new memories with that person, even if what I really want is for them to never leave home. They're not helping. This sounds like you need a long conversation with her about what family means and how to be fair in a relationship. I was in a very similar situation. Every holiday and most Sunday, lunches were spent with the wife's very large extended family. It was mostly enjoyable, but always hectic. I provided a house at the beach where half the family camped out during the holidays. In-laws also had a house where the rest camped out. I'm talking 12 to 14 people to a house. I began resenting the lack of privacy and how everyone disrespected my property and had no boundaries. I had an emergency situation arise and asked my wife to stay and help and go to the beach a few days later. She very bluntly told me she would rather be with her family. We are now divorced.